I would say my first big gig was Miles.
Wow. That's your first big
I
gig.
think that
Jeez.
was yeah. I think that's it was. Before Insight, there was a couple of other bands that I was in, and I met some lifelong friends who are still best friends to this day.
Nice.
And one friend was Vince Wilburn, who's his Miles' nephew, and we had a band together. So this was before Insight, and we would be over his house sometime, and we would stay over at Vince's house. It was just the cool house. His mom was just cool. She was like everybody's mom, and we would rehearse over there, and every once in a while Miles would call, and he would say, "Rich, you want to speak to Miles? Want to speak to Miles?" I'm like, "Man, I don't want to speak to Miles, man." And I think one time I said hello, and he hung up. So I said, "No, man, I don't want to speak to him no more." So that was early on. Let me also add, I think he heard my name from Darrell as well.
Okay.
Because Darrell was there too, before I was.
Do you know Darrell Jones?
I think we grew up together.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We grew up playing bass together. We would shed, in his basement or in my basement. I remember him. I used to live out in Palos Hills. He used to come out there, and we would practice for a while, and then we'd go play basketball out in the heat and come back, and. Yeah, he would show up to some of my gigs. I would show up to some of his gigs, and he would, just critique. And we just had this really cool thing, man. And I learned so much about a different approach to bass around Darrell, because his approach and my approach was so different.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was a big part. There were so many bass players.
Really?
And who are still playing today, who are doing things around Chicago and all over the world.
Wow.
But it was this really tight community of bass players, man, and it was never an unfriendly competitive thing. You know
It's
what I mean?
like that to this day.
Yeah.
Even with the new.
With the new cats. Yeah. And I think that is so cool, man. Cats would just come in, and it was like if somebody came in, they'd be like, "Man, you've been playing 3 sets. Let me take the 4th set for you." Cool, come on.
What was Miles like? Did you get a chance to kind of?
That's a whole nother interview. Miles was,
That's like perfect.
Miles there you go. There you go. Perfect. That was good, man. Miles, he was very funny. A lot of people don't know, but Miles, to me, he was just like the king of one-liners. He would just say stuff just, out of the blue. But sometimes he would say it on stage.
Wow.
Like we're in thousands of people, and he'll excuse me. I mean, yeah, he would just do stuff like, we're in the middle. We're in Germany somewhere. We're playing, thousands of people. We're on stage. Everything is like really, like this, and he'll come up. How you like my shoes? While we're playing, I'm like, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, what's up? I think he's about to say something musical. How you like my shoes? It's just like, really? Okay. When I first got the gig with Miles, I'll tell you 2 stories. So they played this one song that was called, I think it was called Wrinkle. And they sent me board tapes, to learn the songs, because they didn't have any kind of chart for it. But what I didn't realize is that all the different sections in this song were being cued by little things that Miles play.
Oh wow.
So he'll play something, and then he'll do some little motif, and the band knew they would go to the next change in the song.
That's so dope.
You know what I'm saying? This is like why he's playing something, but you're just kind of listening to this one motif that he might play.
Yeah.
So, I'm listening to this one song, trying to learn this one song, Wrinkle, and I'm like, we had cassettes back then. I'm playing it on one, man, it's different. Okay, and I'm trying to maybe chart it out a little bit, put in another one, totally different, put in another one, totally different, and I was like, man, how am I going to learn this song? And so I hadn't talked to Miles yet, so the tour manager kept calling me and said, man, Miles wants you to call him.
Yeah.
And I was scared. I was scared to call Miles. You know, I would pick up the phone, I'll put it down, look at the number. I was like, man, well, I don't know what to say. So I finally get the nerve up, and he said, hello. I said, hey, Miles, this is Richard, you know. Hey. And he said, how you doing with the music? And I said, I'm pretty cool except for this one song I can't can't figure out, Wrinkle. He said, it ain't nothing but a groove. Click.
Oh, shit.
It hung up on me. That was my first conversation.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, what have I got myself into? But that was Miles.
That's dope.
There we go. that was my first full
Did that
conversation.
sit with you?
Man, it freaked me out.
Wow.
It freaked me out, but then I was like, okay. So then that was that. Get to I think it was in Sacramento, the first show.
Mm-hmm.
So we had rehearsal for like 2 or 3 days. No Miles. No, he didn't show up at any rehearsal, so we rehearsed without Miles. And so I kept looking on the floor, and I kept seeing my name on this card. And I was like, I would ask everybody, and nobody would tell me what it was for. Mm-hmm. I guess they had made a pact, like, no, we're not, you know, you'll find out.
Right.
You know, I'm the new kid on the block. I was like, man, what's my name? What's it? You find out. So we rehearsed. Day of the show, sound check. Mm-hmm. No Miles.
Wow.
All right, so we'll go have dinner. We'll come back, get ready for the show. We're in the dressing room. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, man, you know, I haven't even met Miles yet, you know. So, you know, they said, okay, guys, get ready for the stage, blah, blah, blah. And then the tour manager said, Rich, Miles want to see you. Mm. And then I was like, okay, you know. So I go in his room. He said, how you feel? I said, I'm a little nervous. He said, you'll be all right. And then we went on stage.
Wow.
Yeah. That was,
wow.
And then to top the story off, and I'm not making this up, this
mm-hmm.
true. We came up doing this song called Perfect Way by Screedy Politi. Mm-hmm. And I'm playing it like, you know, how it was, you know, how we rehearsed it. And then Miles comes over and pulls me up to the front of the stage with him for a little call response thing. First song.
Wow.
First song. So he's playing, you know, he's playing like in my chest kind of thing, and he wants me to kind of do some things back and forth with him, you know, as we're playing the song. And I did it, you know. Then after that, I wasn't nervous no more. I was like,
really?
What could be, you know, my first song, just meet Miles, and I'm pulled out in the front of the stage to do this little duet with him. And I think he did that on purpose.
Yeah, I was about to say he knew what to do.
He knew what to do.
Yeah.
Because after that, I was like, well, shoot. You know,
we bullets.
You know, no, but it got you know, all the little bubbles were gone. I was like, all right, well, you know, it can't be no worse than that, you know.
Oh, that's brilliant, man.
Yeah, but I think he would do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I see him do things like that if he felt like the band was being if we were playing the same song every night, and if it started to feel stale to him. He would say, and I've seen him do this a bunch of times, we're on the stage, on the side of the stage while they're announcing us. And he'll say, Rich, when we get to blah, 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 you know, some song that's maybe third or fourth down in the set, play this bass line. And he'll play some on his trumpet.
Oh, shit.
And then we'll go out on stage. So now,
you gotta remember this.
I'm thinking about that, you know, so I'm like this now. I'm like, oh man, you know. And I'm about to play another song, and I'm thinking about the other song, 5 songs down, that he just played
on trumpet.
They
want you to play the bass.
Don't want me to play on bass. But he would do that to different people, and I think he would just do that just to, you know, just to get you on edge a little bit, you know what I mean? To really make, you know, because now I'm in it, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like totally in it. And, you know, thinking about that, I'm not, you know, so I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone, a little bit like that. So. And I've seen him do things to different members of the band like that, especially with drummers. Kenny Garrett.
Oh, please talk about it.
Kenny, I would take lessons, piano lessons from Kenny. Whenever we were in the hotel, they had a piano in the lobby. I would call this room, hey man, there's a piano downstairs. We can go down there, you know. And he would just his theory was just was just nuts. But the thing that I really like about Kenny Garrett, Kenny would play with just so much control, you know, and just so much. He would just play, and he would just be centered, you know, and you know, I know for me, I still can struggle with that sometimes because, you know, like sometimes you'll play your best solos at home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it seemed like to me that he would get to that point every single night where
Wow.
he would just play emotion, whatever emotional state that he was in. Because I've heard him, like, you know, we would be, and don't want to put his business about it, but say he came on stage and I knew something was, you know, we had talked earlier and something was kind of bugging him. Maybe something at home, you know, we're on tour, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And his solos would reflect it.
Wow.
If he was happy, you know, something happy, really, his solos would reflect it. And he would just find this space, man, in his solos. I was like, you know, and I would watch him every night. You know, it's just like, man, it's effortless, you know, and he just finds this zone that he gets into, you know. And even Miles the same way. Sharay, just every situation that I've been in, that's what I say, it's been such a blessing. I've learned so much. Roberta was so musical. I used to tell people that her voice and Miles's tone of his trumpet reminded me of each other.
Wow.
You know, because she was, you know, Roberta could just hit like this one note. She didn't have a lot of little curly curls and, you know, all the stuff on it. And it was just so pure. And, you know, with this nice air and stuff like that, it would just, you know, I would get chills.
Wow.
You know, which we would do, first time I ever saw your face, and I'm actually playing, and I'm looking at the goosebumps on my, you know, and we're just playing, you know, a ballad. And then one night, she turned around on the stage. She said, Richard, thank you. I was like, for what? She's like, you're not cheating me on my notes. You're playing the whole note, you know. And I knew what she meant by that, you know, because she has a lot of these long things. And, you know, when she wants a whole note, she wants all of it, you know. Yeah. And she came and she turned around and she told me that. And little things like that she would say, and I would just learn and just keep, you know. Yeah. And, yeah, just such a great musician, and really would like pull you into music. And I think for me, because early on, you know, I came up, I was listening to Stanley Clarke and, you know, Louis Johnson and Jocko. Those probably were my main cats, even though Jameson was, but I didn't know really who Jameson was at the time when I first started, because I'm just listening to the radio and I'm just like, I like it. I don't know who you are, I like it. So then it was a lot of fast notes and, you know, a lot of, you know, stuff like that. But then later on, when I got with Roberta, and I just started to really, really understand space and understand, you know, harmonies and clusters and, you know, and colors, you know, those kind of things. So
you're the legend, man.
Dude, man.
Thank you for inviting me up into your lair.